Hello, this is Trina. Welcome to the Bag Hag Digest. Woohoo! Hello bag lovers. So today I'm going to talk to you about my beloved Speedy 30, the classic Speedy in the monogram print, which I got off the pre-loved market here in Japan. I think it's from the 1990s, and it was in good condition when I bought it, meaning there weren't any major holes or scratches or parts missing or severe leather damage, but it was pretty well worn and pretty filthy. And I cleaned it up initially and thought it looked pretty good, so I wore it that way for a month. And then I decided, you know, I don't really like vachetta leather. I think I'm going to dye this. So I saw some great videos online for people who had dyed their purses, and I thought, you know what, I can do that. So, and I'll put a link to some of those channels for your reference if you want to see some more, because I'm not going to go step by step on this because I already did it and I couldn't be bothered to film it when I did it. So I obviously chose black. I like black. It goes with everything. It doesn't show wear. It's pretty sleek. It's classic. So what I have here is a shot of everything that you'll need to clean and dye and seal your vachetta leather on your Louis Vuitton or any other bag. The only thing really missing here is newspaper to cover your work surface. Otherwise, you will end up with nasty, immovable dye stains, and you do not want that. To clean your bag, first you should use some alcohol-free baby wipes. They're the gentlest of cleaners and will get off all of the surface dirt. Next, you can use some leather saddle soap, which looks like this. It's essentially just a soap, and you can put your rag into that and gently clean your leather. However, this stuff is very drying, so you might want to skip that option until you've fully conditioned your bag, or if your bag is already in fantastic condition, which is not always the case when you buy vintage items. As an alternative to or before you clean with saddle soap, you can try leather lotion or conditioner, which also cleans, and this will add some moisture into your vachetta leather. Always a good choice. I don't necessarily recommend this brand here. This is just what was available to me, and it worked fine. Either before or after you clean your bag, your leather, and your canvas, you can polish up the silver, which takes a lot of elbow grease, and you just put a little bit of this onto your metal for a few seconds and scrub it down. You can use Q-tips for this for the small parts, or just tissue paper even, although that might disintegrate a bit, or paper towel, or whatever you have on hand, and that will really shine up the metal and make it new. After you dye your bag and put the Resolene sealer on it, you might also want to do this again in case paint gets onto your metal. Paper towel, tissue paper, rags, or cloths. Now this is a product called melamine in Japanese, I guess melanin maybe, melamine in English, and this is a very abrasive cleaner. You just dip the sponges in water and you scrub on your stain, and it really is very effective. However, it will scrape off the surface of your bag, so I don't really recommend this unless you have dreadful stains and you're willing to sacrifice the surface of your leather. I used this on some old straps of mine and it did work very effectively, but I had some major conditioning work to do after I cleaned the bag. Okay, then you're going to need obviously some paint brushes. These are horsehair ones I got on Amazon in Japan. One of them, this one on the left, I used for the Resolene, and this one I used for the paint. And this is the dye that I use, the Angelus Jet Black Leather dye. It's not a paint, it's a dye. It stains, and this is the blotter that came with it. And I used this for the bigger parts of the bag, which didn't require such precision. Next we have tape. This is paint tape. I put it around the corners of the bag, specifically on the part for the handles that touch the bag, so that I would not get any on my canvas. And some Q-tips also that came in handy for both polishing and cleaning up messes. I didn't use the tape around the piping of the bag. I just used a little bit of hand precision and worked very slowly, and I didn't have any major problems. Notice too that these Q-tips are not your regular run-of-the-mill Q-tips. They have very stiff pointed ends, which makes precision work really easy. And last is the Resolene. So this is a type of sealant. It has, this particular one has black color in it, which gives that extra gloss. Obviously, if you're using a different color, you want to use the clear Resolene. And the trick with this stuff is putting it on very thin layers, otherwise you will get a sticky residue on your bag no matter how dry it is. So I showed you already the materials I used. I just want to give you some tips if you want to do this, what you should look out for when painting your bag. Obviously you'll want to protect around the areas that might go onto the leather, and you'll want to work very patiently and in thin coats. And I think that's the hardest part actually, is just waiting for the dries, wiping it down between dries, and putting on another coat. It takes patience. It wasn't hard though. I mean, the tricky parts were getting into the small, like the small edges here where you could see the shadow leather showing before. The piping was, I don't know, was it difficult? It was just painstaking. I had to put my hand in, stick it out as much as possible, and use a very thin brush, making sure not to get any paint on the canvas, and just do it piece by little. And I did get some paint onto the bag, but fortunately this buckles in and you can't see it at all. In fact, I'm sure there's people that can paint bags or dye them rather much better than me, and yet I was able to do this to my complete satisfaction. The major point I would say to be careful on is when you do the Resolene, the sealant, put your coats on thin, otherwise you will get a stickiness. I mentioned that before. Yeah, that's basically all I can tell you. It was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be, if I'm perfectly honest. And I think it looks fantastic, feels fantastic. I'm going to keep this guy for a long time.